Today our topic is what the ancient Stoics can teach us about wealth. The ancient Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius were philosophers who lived thousands of years ago, but their ideas about money and wealth are still very relevant today. They didn't believe that money itself was good or bad, but they thought that the way we think about money and use it could lead to happiness or suffering. The Stoics taught us that wealth is not just about having a lot of money or possessions. Instead, they believed that true wealth comes from having a strong mind, a good character, and the ability to be content with what we have. Let's explore what the Stoics can teach us about wealth and how we can apply their wisdom to our modern lives. First, the Stoics believed that money and possessions are not the key to happiness. They thought that many people make the mistake of chasing after money, thinking that if they have enough of it, they will finally be happy. But the Stoics warned that this is an illusion. Money can buy comfort, security, and luxury, but it cannot buy peace of mind or inner happiness. Seneca, a famous Stoic philosopher, said that wealth is like seawater. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. This means that no matter how much money you have, it will never be enough if you are not satisfied with what you already have. The Stoics believed that true happiness comes from within, from developing virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, rather than from external things like money. Another important lesson from the Stoics is that we should not become too attached to our wealth. The Stoics believed that everything in life is temporary, including money and possessions. They taught that we should enjoy the good things in life, but we should also be prepared to lose them at any moment. Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher, reminded himself every day that he could lose his wealth, his power, and even his life. By doing this, he was able to stay humble and not take anything for granted. The Stoics believed that if we become too attached to our wealth, we will suffer when we lose it. Instead, they advised us to focus on things that we can control, like our thoughts, actions, and character, rather than things that are outside of our control, like money and possessions. The Stoics also taught us that wealth can be a tool, but it can also be a trap. They believe that money itself is neither good nor bad. It's how we use it that matters. Wealth can be used to help others, to create opportunities, and to live a comfortable life. But it can also lead to greed, selfishness, and corruption if we are not careful. The Stoics warned that wealth can easily become a source of stress and anxiety if we are always worried about losing it, or if we are never satisfied with what we have. They believed that the best way to use wealth is to see it as a means to an end, not an end in itself. In other words, money should be used to support a good life, but it should not become the main goal of our lives. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught that we should be careful about how much importance we give to wealth. He said that if we value money too much, we will become slaves to it. Instead, he advised us to focus on what is truly valuable in life, such as our relationships, our health, and our personal growth. Epictetus believed that the less we depend on external things like money, the freer we will be. He said that the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. This idea is very powerful because it reminds us that true wealth is not about having more, but about wanting less. The Stoics also believed that wealth can test our character. They thought that how we handle money and success can reveal a lot about who we are as people. For example, if we become wealthy, will we stay humble and generous, or will we become arrogant and selfish? If we lose our wealth, will we remain calm and resilient, or will we become bitter and desperate? The Stoics believe that wealth is like a mirror. It shows us our true selves. They taught that we should use wealth as an opportunity to practice virtues like humility, gratitude, and Seneca said that the best way to test a person's character is to give them power and wealth, because these things can easily corrupt someone who is not strong in their values. One of the most important lessons from the Stoics is that we should not compare ourselves to others when it comes to wealth. They believe that comparing ourselves to others is a sure way to feel unhappy and dissatisfied. The Stoics taught that everyone's situation is different, and that it is pointless to envy someone else's wealth or success. Instead, they advised us to focus on our own progress and to be grateful for what we have. Marcus Aurelius said that we should not waste our time worrying about what other people have or what they think of us. Instead, we should focus on living a good life according to our own values and principles. The Stoics believed that true wealth is not about having more than others, but about being content with what we have and making the most of it. The Stoics also believed that we should use our wealth to help others. They thought that one of the best ways to use money is to be generous and to support those in need. Seneca said that the wise person does not just accumulate wealth for themselves, but uses it to benefit others. He believed that generosity is one of the highest virtues because it shows that we are not controlled by greed or selfishness. The Stoics taught that when we help others, we not only make the world a better place, but we also enrich our own lives. They believed that true wealth is not just about what we have, but about what we give. Finally, the Stoics believed that we should not let wealth define us. They thought that our worth as human beings does not come from how much money we have, but from how we live our lives. The Stoics believed that we should focus on developing our character, on being kind, honest, and courageous, rather than on accumulating wealth. They taught that we should strive to be good people, not rich people. Marcus Aurelius said that our true wealth is not in our bank accounts, but in our hearts and minds. He believed that the richest person is the one who has a strong and virtuous character, because this is something that no one can take away. In conclusion, the ancient Stoics have a lot to teach us about wealth. They believe that money and possessions are not the key to happiness, and that true wealth comes from having a strong mind and a good character. They taught us not to become too attached to our wealth, to use it wisely, and to focus on what is truly valuable in life. They reminded us that wealth can test our character, and that we should not compare ourselves to others when it comes to money. The Stoics believe that we should use our wealth to help others, and that we should not let it define us. Their wisdom is still very relevant today, and it can help us live a more content and meaningful life. So the next time you think about wealth, remember the lessons of the Stoics. True wealth is not about having more, but about being more.